Hi. So after a nearly 2 full week hiatus, the North American Dev Deep Dive podcast presented by Black Stitch Hockey returns for episode two. I decided it was in good taste to just cease the majority of our activities, even though I could have been an emergency showrunner. Just in the interest of the fact that Christian, our COO and branding and marketing um, genius, underwent a transformative life event recently. And yeah, I'll let him reveal the details of that, at his own pace. But effectively, with him being unable to promote, any creative works, I just figured it would be better not to guilt him or put any pressure on him by putting something out that he couldn't help me, pump out there, due to, just a more pressing situation, calling, his attention. So we'll leave out the junior leagues this week, but we will talk about the U17 World Hockey Challenge, which came to a close on Saturday the 8th, so 10 days ago. So relatively on the pulse still, and, still with things that people are talking about having occurred. Um, yeah, so we left off. The group stages had just ended when we last convened, um, and the knockout rounds were quite interesting from there. So in the quarterfinal, Team Canada White, uh, which of course featured two very good underage Western Canada players on its roster in the form of first and third overall picks in the most recent WHL Bantam draft, in the form of Liam Pugh and Maddox Schultz. Of course, Schultz going first and Pugh going third, both to the Regina Pats as they made an aggressive move to move up in the draft for a second high pick. Um, to that point, they scored both of the first two goals in this game uh, as part of their overall dominant performances as individuals, with Schultz additionally picking up a secondary assist on the final goal of the game, approximately midway through the third period. Um, Sam Berthaim, hold on. Yeah, that's about right. Had 24 saves in that matchup for a 960 save percentage. Um, Pugh picked up an assist as well, entailing on Schultz's goal actually. Entailing that the two both had multi-point games, as did Brock Cheateroni with one goal and two assists. Um, so yeah, good showing by some of the individuals there. Um, yeah, just okay. Hold on. Yeah, we're looking good. Yeah, so Canada Red, who of course feature Alexei Joseph amongst their ranks, defeated Sweden 8-3 uh, in their quarterfinal. Let's see, yeah, Chase Sirkin, Charlie Murata, some guys got on the score sheet. Um, Boston Tate, couple of assists there. Joseph goal. Yeah, let's see. Boston Tate had 4 assists overall in that matchup. Brock Cripps 3 assists, Mirko Dufour 2 assists. Those are the standout performances for Canada Red in that match. Uh, Leaf Oaten, ironic name to carry with you in this specific circumstance. 29 saves in that matchup for a 906 save percentage. Respectable. Um, yeah, so they got the job done even more emphatically than Canada White did in their respective quarterfinal. With the U.S. having had a direct berth to the semis, they faced off with Canada White in a game where it seemed like both teams had every answer for one another. With the game headed to overtime in 7-7 tie. Uh, it worked out too well that this was Liam Pugh's first signature international moment. Uh, as he did record the overtime game-winning goal for his squad there to send Canada White to the finals with Schultz tallying the primary assist, the only assist actually. Um, Therefore entailing that there was a combination of those two got the job done. Of course, they had help along the way in a game like that. Matt Henderson, Sam Roberts, and Alex Kuhlman all had 3-point nights. Some respect to the performances on the USA side as well, of course, such as Braden Willis, 1 goal, 3 assists, as you see there. Nolan Fitzhenry, 1 goal, 2 assists. Carter Meyer, 1 goal, 1 assist. Um, Yeah, just a matter of who scored last in this game. Certainly wasn't decided by its defense. Very exciting matchup. Gotta give some credit to Victoria Royals player and University of North Dakota commit Eli McCamey for his 1 assist in that matchup as well. He's a piece of the puzzle for Canada White getting it done. Um, Canada Red, meanwhile, bumped off Czechia uh, by a score of 4-1 uh, in their respective semifinal. Uh, yeah, 1 goal by Alexei Joseph in that matchup. St you know, uh, he was very steady uh, throughout the process of them getting to the final, I'd say. He was reliable for at least a goal a game. So, I gotta respect that. Yeah, Brock Englund, 2 goals, Cameron Warren, 2 assists. And yeah, a little bit more of a subdued performance, relatively competitive. Um, yeah, credit to Leif Oten for another steady performance in the net, wherein he recorded a 955 save percentage. Um, it's also worth noting that Czechia's only goal was scored on the power play as Chase Sirkin was chosen as the sacrifice, if you will, for the too many men penalty, with Maximilian Meyers recording the goal for Czechia. Other than that, I mean, pretty much a performance wherein they didn't make a lot of mistakes. A few penalties here and there, nothing that ended up costing them. Other than that, Czechia would definitely had the bigger disciplinary issues in this game. But yeah, moving on to the final now. Uh, well, yeah, sure. We'll give the bronze medal game its respect. Uh, the U.S. didn't walk away without hardware, as they defeated Czechia 3-1 in the third place consolation game. Braden Willis recorded 2 goals in this matchup for something of a signature performance by him. Eli Winters recorded 30 saves for a 968 save percentage. What else we got? Carter Meyer, 2 assists. Braden Horton scoring the other goal. Yeah, pretty good cap off. I've heard it's been said before that some players prefer to walk away with a bronze than with a silver, because at least when you win the bronze, it means you won your last game. So, something to think about. But yeah, the final yet again took a place between Canada Red and Canada White. Uh, with Canada Red, somewhat surprisingly, although they do have a slightly older core, so maybe not. Emerging forward 6-3 victors in this matchup. Um, yeah, Peter Green, three assists in this matchup. Alexi Joseph, two assists. Blake Chorney, two assists. And yeah, some multi-point performances for Canada White in the form of Caden McGregor, Matt Henderson. Uh, one goal, one assist, and two assists, respectively. Um, Maddox Schultz did score a goal in this game, so there is that. Yeah, Charlie Murata, Alexei Joseph, scoring goals, amongst others such as Louis Carepi, assisted by John McLaughlin. If you're a jazz head, you know the significance of that name. um, but yeah, Joseph did have a multi-point performance in this matchup. Yeah, I don't know. Did they not? I thought. Never mind. I'm having a senior moment. Yeah, the two assists. Yeah, like he had a multi-point game in the finals, and it shows that like he as the yeah uh he as the the de facto centerpiece for that team and the most noteworthy name was able to do something of significance on the final stage for this, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, hold on, let me just adjust this really quickly, and yeah, just make that a little bigger. I apologize if it's a little bit odd that this is maybe slightly off center at any point. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, very good tournament. It is worth noting that as underage players, Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh both had two of the greatest, individual performances at the history of this tournament. So that's pretty cool. It was interesting seeing some of the graphics about contextualizing where that ranked, amongst some of the finest performances at WHC 17 history. So that's pretty dope. Uh, Plenty of good narratives there from many. We've got a better showing from the US than maybe some anticipated. I like it. I'm pretty happy with how things played out. Yeah, so last couple of weeks of NCAA D1. Yeah, Providence defeated UConn 15 versus 11. So nominally an upset, despite, these teams being in close quarters with one another all told. I do think UConn's roster, just because of experience, is a little stronger on the whole. But we're seeing some stuff from the Friars this year and some of their big time names like Logan Sawyer and John Mustard, both of whom had multi point performances in this game via two goals and two assists, respectively. Kind of interesting. Yeah, Mustard tried to get a goal in this game for sure. As a pure shooter, he did record 6 shots on goal, as you can see there.
It just didn't happen, but he contributed to the victory nevertheless. Philip Spedbach, 37 saves in this matchup, really showed up big for Providence in this one. Uh, Hello. Yeah, Bo Jelsma, that's another one of my favorite names in college hockey. Providence certainly isn't lacking in personality. Yeah, let's see. So this matchup that was one instance in which Michigan State took one over Penn State uh via a 2-1 overtime victory. Let's see. Yeah, Tiernan Shody had the overtime winner in that matchup. Um, Gavin McKenna did get on the board, which for as many as much discourse that his freshman season, which is also his DY, has been a source of he did at least get a goal against the number one team in the nation, who are now unanimously ranked as such. Uh, and after more recent developments, they got every first place vote, as they should, because I really don't think there should be any debate at this point. The Spartans are regularly defeating the other best teams in NCAA D1, and occasionally it's not even particularly close. Like the recruiting they did for this, plus the development of some of their returnees, such as Charlie Stramel, um, and Shane Vensagi, amongst others, is certainly something that has had them turn such a ridiculous corner, on top of the ridiculous recruiting class that they had. Of course, Trey Augustine between the pipes, if he was not the best goalie in NCAA men's ice hockey prior to this season, he definitely is now, because he has no competition whatsoever, with Jacob Fowler having moved on to the professional ranks in the Montreal organization. Uh, Although I don't know what the fuck they were thinking initially assigning him the number 31 with the big club. That's such a faux pas that I think was in terrible taste. I really don't think anyone should be wearing that again. I mean, they disrespected Carey Price throughout his career by not giving him a single PPG player ever. It's to the point where Macklin Celebrini has a better PPG, had a better PPG through his first 18 games as a Price teammate than anyone ever has, since, that's technically a measurable metric for him, or, in an official contract capacity. So it's only right that they spit on him again now that his playing career is effectively over, and yeah, all the other stuff. But in any event, I don't want to get too tangential. Um, it's just another pronouncement by the Spartans, another pronouncement by the Nittany Lions as well, as I increasingly don't think that they can defeat anyone who's really all that good. I'll double tap on that in just a moment. Yeah, let's see. Yale defeating Quinnipiac was certainly quite the um, narrative as well. Unranked opponent from the Ivy League, defeating the number five team in the country, who are only a few seasons removed from a national title win, and are still relevant. Uh, yeah, I uh, I really think this was one of the best things that happened that weekend. Good for Noah Pack. He gets to say, after multiple seasons in a row as the best goaltender in the OJHL, he got to be a part of something special and his something very significant very early on into his college career. That's very cool. Um, Definitely a guy I was rooting for. David Andreychuk. Oh dear. Talk about carrying the weight of expectations with you with a name. I want to see something really quickly. Pavel Datsuk. Yeah, nah, of course. Are they still having problems? I think they were affected by. Huh, that's interesting. Oh, mother of God, get the fuck out of here. I always feel a little bit better uncorking some curse words when I am not by myself, because at least then it can be justified by being the energy in the room. But when I'm doing my solo show and I let out an F-bomb, I do feel a little bit guilty about it because it's not like I'm being provoked. I know our content is basically like in the AV context, you know. It's effectively TV 14 with a few more F-bombs, but I don't know. Something about it just doesn't feel right. If I say an F-bomb while I'm, monologuing during a big finish on our main pod, that's a totally different story. Null. Yeah, I just am kind of looking at this over and over again. Yeah, over a PPG player both during his null career and during his prep career. Late bloomer offensively, I guess. Decent season at Chatham High, 14U. Yeah, not, he's kind of had the sort of college career you'd anticipate, but hey, respectable, and he was part of history. I like it. I like, yeah, I still wouldn't have given him the first name David, but, uh, what are you gonna do? I'm sure his parents meant well when making that decision. Dan Hickling is the uncontested god of junior hockey photography. Like it's really not close. Just want to put that out there. His influence is very strong. Yeah, I mean Andrewchuk, very important role in this game by scoring the goal that. Yeah, this Quinnipiac fell victim to the 2-0 curse. Uh, He put the first dent in it. James Shannon tied it up. David Chen scored the overtime game-winning goal, and Ronan O'Donnell iced it with the empty netter. So yeah, I mean, this is a really, really nice micro narrative as well, on top of just the general implications. It's certainly something that satisfies me. Um, Anything else worth talking about? Yeah, I forgot. I memory hold that first UNH game. I guess I just didn't want to believe that UMass Lowell lost 2-0, my least favorite deficit in the world at home to UNH. But yeah, I guess not a defeated First State. Blah blah blah. Minnesota Duluth 4-0. 7-2 victory by North Dakota. Oh, but there was a reversal of fortune. I can't wait to talk about that one. Yeah, let's take a look at the Denver versus Western Michigan game before we move on to the next one. Yeah, obviously Denver, bit of an ignominious start to the season for them by their established standard, but they defeated the defending national champions, ranked number 4, in this matchup. Uh, so that's something. Yeah, 3 unanswered goals. Of course, one of them was an empty netter, but yeah, the third period they brought their lunch pail and got the job done after trailing by 1 for most of the game, so that's pretty cool.
Uh, Moving on to the next day. Was there anything worth talking about on the day I uploaded this episode? Yeah, it's just the Maine versus UMass Amherst game. Oh yeah, there it is. Michigan State just trouncing Penn State 5-0. Like Augustine, I remember he had 36 saves in that game. Porter Martone goal and assists, got in some trouble. Daniel Russell, 3 assists. Charlie Stramel, 2 goals, 2 assists. I think he's finally turning the corner. Like he was a project player that I still wasn't the biggest. I wasn't not the biggest fan of that pick by the Minnesota Wild, but maybe it's going to turn out well for them. But yeah, Reichert Lee, 1 assist in that game, also part of the extracurriculars and such. 8 shots on goal. Really skilled player. A a guy who really makes his presence known. Jared Crespo, Lev Katzen, former Guelph Storm player. Uh, One of the guys who made the USHL to CHL transition when the Forbidden Door opened up, allowing CHL players into NCAA D1. Uh, yeah, let me. I just want to look at a variety of things here. Thornhill, Ontario. 5'8", 176. Yeah, sometimes I forget he's such a peanut. Not that there's anything wrong with being an undersized player. Yeah, Green Bay Gamblers. And he had a pretty good showing at the U16 AAA level, I'd say, looking at those PPG numbers. Uh, yeah, not really getting anything going yet. Certainly doing well in the PIMS category. And with that game, I don't know, giving a bit of a buff to those numbers. He's on pace. Yeah, it was kind of something that happened for him, anyways, I guess, in Green Bay. But yeah, the I wonder if he keeps this up. Is he? Maybe it'll be worth evaluating him as an undersized pest. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. He's a fine young man, from by all accounts. That I kind of got some indication of from his time as Jet Luchenko's teammate for about 2/3 of a season, give or take. Just under 2/3, yeah. 68 game season. Just had to think about that for a second. Uh, Good old CHL, Bobby. Yeah, he's good at the U18s last year, for sure. Remember that well. Anyway, another digression. Uh, yeah, Anthony Romani was a steady presence in both of those games. Gotta give him credit. He's a pretty good part of how deep like, he's a respectable part of the makeup of the insane depth that team has. Like, I think he's been pretty impactful this year in like a sneaky way. Same thing with Lee, but Lee's playing style kind of confronts you with it a bit more, I think. Yeah, the guys like these big rigs that they have on this team have really been getting the job done. And I don't mean to say that they play like Pat Maroon because they don't. I guess Van Sage kind of has a similar cadence to his game, maybe, but I don't know. Um, Yeah, I don't know. Like, they got Martone on this team. That dude can be like, I don't mean just to gas him up because he is a Philadelphia Flyers prospect and the best one they have now that Michkov is. I mean, he had already graduated to you know
rookie status by the time he was drafted anyway, but you know, I guess like I guess it's just like he's, by and far like the most important prospect that they have. And like but he's just literally like Corey Perry crossed. I mean prime Corey Perry, the one that fucking won an MVP in 2011 and all of that jazz. Crossed with Matt Kachuk, like potentially is like the outcome that we're looking at here. But yeah, Denver doubled up by beating Western Michigan again that next day, with a 6-3 scoreline being the final. Yeah, Christian Epperson, Sam Harris, yeah, James Reeder, Eric Polkamp, Kieran Sebrian, uh, forget anybody. Oh yeah, Rieger Lorenz, uh, scored the second goal of the game. Very dominant first period by them, and then they just never really looked back. Like, there's never really a goal that Western Mich scored that brought them back into the game at any point. Uh, There's just too much distance between them. Maybe that 5-2 goal by Ty Henricks provided them with their best chance, but it didn't happen. Yeah, Quentin Miller, 41 freaking saves in this game. Amazing. Like, just a great performance by him. Samu Selmanen, 2 assists in this game. Eric Polkamp also had an assist to complement his goal, as did James Reeder and Rieger Lorenz for the multi-point performances in this matchup. Yeah, good sweep by Denver. Kind of reasserted themselves with that one. Yeah, Dartmouth beating Cornell was pretty big, 2-1 victory. As they're proving they can defeat a wide variety of opponents, and I think are actually a legitimately competitive presence in ECAC this year. They had some interesting things happen last year. They never really turned a corner that asserted that this team was really, really not to be trifled with. But this year, the Big Green definitely has. Hayden Stavroff and Matt Fusco scored the goals for them, with Hank Cleaves and Nikita Nikora being attributed assists for that goal that kicked things off by Stavroff, and Tim Bisconi and Andrew Clark assisted Fusco's goal. Sorry. Lexi Cornoyer 24 saves, but 23 saves by Emmett Croto. There he is again. Was enough to get the job done. He only let in one goal. Uh, yeah, there's more to come from Dartmouth in this episode for sure. But yeah, moving forward, Winnipeg did get the revenge on Brown with a 4-3 overtime victory. Don't really need to pick that apart any further. Really emphatic victory on the road by UMass Lowell in the return fixture against UNH. They just showed up at the Whittemore Center. 6-1 victory. Really emphatic. Got it done by committee. No one scored more than one goal, but Jay Ahern did have one goal and 3 assists in this matchup. Josh Morey had 2 assists. Uh, yeah, really good stuff from the group just as a cohort. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess not. Uh, Mandela effect. I watched that game. I swore Diego and Marco were both played. I guess not. Yeah, kind of in the recesses of my memory now. 26 saves, pretty good stuff from Austin Elliott. More on him at the end of this episode, I think. Uh, Kristaps Grasnich. Yeah, I often feel bad for that guy because that's just he's carrying a lot of expectations on him with that name. A lot of sentimental attachment in this region and in this sport to uh, his first name and his last name, respectively. But whatever. Yeah, Ryan McPherson still gunning. Yeah, BU really played two competitive games back to back against Merrimack, where you had to wonder if the Warriors were gonna pull off an upset in either situation. It didn't happen, but yeah, in that first game, I really thought they were gonna pull something off at the Agganis there, which I was like, you know what? It's good for the sport. I'll let it happen, even though I have just I don't have a sympathetic cell in my body at any point in my life for Merrimack. I have no fondness for them whatsoever, but I would have liked that. Yeah, North Dakota did get the job done against Omaha, but despite that, there are good things ahead for some of those squads in the in my that I hold a little bit of fondness for in terms of like the plucky underdog. Uh and I respect this game. I mean, Cole Resney had one goal and two assists and a +3 for like a very, very good performance by him. Possibly the best game of his college career to this point. I won't quantify that with 100% certainty, but yeah. Anyway, um, moving on. I might skip ahead to next week, possibly. Let me just give one more run through to this day, see if there's anything else worth talking about. University of Minnesota Duluth completed the sweep against yeah, 3 to um against St. Cloud State 3-2 overtime. Yale followed up their upset over Quinnipiac with a 2-1 overtime victory over Princeton in some ECAC action. Yeah, Quinnipiac, as mentioned before, did get a degree of redemption, but really shouldn't have gone to overtime against Brown. I think. I don't know. They need to be called into question a bit as to whether or not they still fully have it, because there have been some questionable results going on for them. Yeah, the only Sunday game was a 3-2 win by Bentley over West Point. That's nothing really special going on there. St. Thomas defeated St. Cloud 3-1 a week ago. This past weekend, we had some pretty good stuff going on. Cornell's been consistent, at least, mostly. Things that have transpired. Some things that have transpired for them, not so great. Yeah. 4-1 victory over Brown, though. So at least they beat a team they should in that context. Let's see. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that Union versus UMass game any more than that. 6-7, 6 goal loss, 7-1, even on the road. Like I just these teams, there isn't enough of a competitive gap for that to be happening. I didn't watch much of that game, and I didn't feel like I missed anything by not doing so. Dartmouth defeated St. Lawrence University by a score of 6-1 as their good season continued. Let's see, Michigan State. Yeah, this really said something here about Penn State, even more so than that 5-0 loss did. The University of Michigan Wolverines defeated the Penn State Nittany Lions by a score of 7-1 in men's ice hockey. I just I felt like it was appropriate to tack that on there since these teams are traditionally associated in the mainstream with their football programs. Michigan
obviously traditionally so, but their hockey team has some good recognition. But Penn State, especially considering their ascendancy to varsity, was pretty recent in the grand scale. And, I guess I do respect that they are where they are right now. Uh, Considering that, but like, I mean, they pulled a Temple football and tried to buy a program by just putting all this money into it and spending this much fucking money on NIL. Hey, Shea Van Olm scored a goal. Big fan of him. Big fan of Charlie Serrato as well. Like, especially on the McKenna recruitment, and like, uh, they very rarely convincingly win games. They're not really doing anything against other top tier programs, at least not with the level of consistency that they should, considering their ranking. And now they just get absolutely fucking destroyed by the team who is very, very good. Like, they have proven their legitimacy, but they're not the best team in Michigan in college hockey right now. That obviously goes to their rival, the Spartans, but I don't know where things just went absolutely wrong for them. Like, I just it's really a reminder of where Penn State is, where they're probably at the bottom of the barrel, or at least should be perceived as such when it comes to the Blue Bloods, which they now are, even though they aren't a traditional powerhouse. Like, they're in that top tier, but they're at the bottom of it. And they will remain so until they convincingly defeat another really good team in Big Ten, which that time it was a team in Big Ten convincingly beating them. They got destroyed in this game. I'm not even gonna pick it apart statistically. Yeah, Boston College defeated UMass Amherst that same day by a score of 7-3. 18 defeating 13. And that's these sort of games do matter for them because they are still a good team, but this is considered a bridge year for them effectively. They had a respectable enough recruiting class and transfer portal window, but they're not at the top of the top with so many of their big names, such as Gautier, Smith, Peralt, Leonard, all in the pros now, amongst others, having moved on. Some good names on this team still. Teddy Stiga, James Hagens, of course. Hey, Dean Letourneau scored a goal in this game. Good for him. Aaron Menedian, Will Scahan, Will Vogt, Will Traeger, Drew Fortescue. Yeah, they definitely miss Eamon Powell on that back end. And Jake Sondriel. I was a big fan of him in the USHL. Let's pull up his elite prospects. Yes, I do prefer DuckDuckGo. I feel like I've acknowledged that on camera before. Whatever. Yeah, really good career at Dubuque. Those couple of years, he was very, very good. I really thought he should have been drafted in, if not in 24, then as an overager last year. Like, I guess he did not have a flashy freshman season, but like, you look at who he was in the USHL and you just think, like, isn't he worth taking on as a project in like the late rounds, maybe? I feel like he will take the backdoor route to the pros. Like, it's not just. I know he's only just becoming a PPG player in NCAA as a 21-year-old sophomore now, but like, I just don't see this not ending with him at least ending up on an AHL roster in the near future. Like, I don't know. He's just got that sort of like presence to his game, an overall set of tools, and good discipline. Only 2 penalty minutes this whole year so far. after that having been a bit of an issue for him in the past, to where you have to think it's going to happen at some point. Like, moving on. Yeah, Stigo was someone who got in a little bit of trouble in that game. 2 assists from uh, Luka Rado, Radovojevic. Yeah, Radovojevic. Yes, yes. Okay. Uh, Higgins, 1 goal, 1 assist, 6 shots on goal. Speaking of, Ryan Conley, their biggest, that big splash in the transfer portal from UNH, scored a goal, recorded 6 shots on net in this game. Fortescue. Yeah, Laterno also had an assist to complement that goal. Yeah, some good things from some of the guys that have interesting storylines going on. Definitely significant for the many Bruins fans we have in our fan base, with James Higgins being, an important piece of their next steps. And Michigan State finished off a perfect weekend by defeating Notre Dame 4-1. That game was interesting in like that toe drag thing that turned into something like equivalent to a Sham God from basketball by Riker Lee. Really got some eyes on it. It's a shame that that wasn't the play that he scored a goal on in that game. It didn't end up in a finish, but that was really, really fucking sick. Like I can't even begin to describe it in any other terms other than that. 2 goals and 6 shots on net, and very dominant performance by Porter Martone. Um, yeah, Charlie Stramel, 2 assists, 24 saves by Augustine. Didn't have too much asked of him in this game. It wasn't a total wash or anything, but on the other side, Nicholas Kemp, to his credit, made 43 saves and 46 shots on goal on 46 shots on goal, I guess, whatever. Yeah, not really a surprising result at all, but like some cool stuff came out of it. So I like that game as part of the overall puzzle. Minnesota State 2-1 overtime victory for Lake Superior. Colgate defeated Yale 4-3 in overtime. Ohio State with a 5-1 win over Wisconsin in a 19 versus 10 upset. 19th versus 10th, should say, perhaps. Christoph Eberle, 30 saves in the victory. Goal, 1 assist by Adam Easel and Isel. I'm not sure. Max Montes. Yeah, Jake Carabella. 1 goal, 1 assist as well. Yeah, uh, pretty good team win here. You know, bit of an upset, I suppose, even if it's not the biggest. Guelph, Ontario native, huh? Yeah, let's take a look. Guelph Griffins, alumnus, 5'11", 187. Drafted by the Washington Capitals in 2022. Um, yeah, uh, yeah, I do somewhat fondly, in something of a masochistic way, remember him well and fondly from his time as a Jet Luchenko teammate. It's not a good. Yeah, I mean, his freshman year is going pretty well, all things considered. Decent playmaking stats right there with his 8 assists in 10 games. His first goal of the season, though, but yeah, he's doing stuff. plus player for the first time since his first year in the OHL. So they really took, you know, I know Guelph has a bit of a history of success. Yeah, they really took a bit of a licking there uh, for those couple of seasons. They're just rough. Of course, what I've seen, they are in a bit of an upward swing since Luchenko returned from another brief stint with Philadelphia. Uh, so that's cool. Yeah, it's like, and it's like, um, might as well take a look at what this has been like for him. I was like, I remember him just enough from those many Guelph Storm games that I subjected myself to that I'll see what's up. Uh, is there anything else on this day? I feel like I'm forgetting something. A 5-2 win for ASU there. Now, the next night is a different story. I was I was like, this is a good thing for college hockey and its overall uh makeup, but I was like, I don't how I'm never gonna let you guys live this down. I cannot believe you lost this game. Arizona State defeated North Dakota by a score of 4-2 in that return fixture. Talk about a team that had all that such high expectations and just did not live up to any of them. I knew pretty early on into the season they were a bit overrated, but they beat the number 8 ranked team in the country in this game. Maybe it's an every dog has its day moment, has his day, like, or, anything can happen. This is why they play the game, sort of thing. But, I mean, nevertheless, it's a shakeup, to the overall picture whenever something like this happens. Colin Potter scored a goal in this game. Cruz Lucius, couple of assists. Noah Powell, sorry. An assist, of course, the Philadelphia Flyers prospect who was drafted last year. Um, had a bit of an interesting path. Of course, is deaf, which is makes his story quite remarkable. Uh, yeah, Quinnipiac defeated Boston University by a score of 6-2. Um, so yeah, they're in. That's kind of part of the how things flipped for North Dakota. Well, really, it is for them. I swore, did Omaha play the? Yeah, there we go. This was a game. Now, the Omaha Mavericks demonstrated that they may not be a great team or anything, but they are one of those squads that can maybe potentially beat is like maybe the type that could potentially beat anyone on any night, any given night. Just in a similar class to St. Cloud State, and I guess Clarkson has a bit of that swagger to them when you consider some of their upsets this year. Uh, they just have a lower baseline than these other teams. Not that Omaha is doing amazingly by any stretch, nor is St. Cloud, but they've had some pretty impressive results. But yeah, Miles Hillman and Marc LaJoie scored the goals in this game. Uh, really strong performance by Dawson Cowan with his 32 saves against the team that has effectively the best offense in NCAA D1 men's ice hockey when you consider the prolificacy of their first line and some of the historic shit they've been doing in terms of just their really impressive output. Like, wow. Yeah. And yeah, I think that That about covers it for everything that happened this past weekend. Couple of games tonight. The University of Alaska Anchorage Nanooks take on wait, no, yeah, that's the I'm thinking of yeah, where yeah, the Nanooks are Fairbanks, it's the Sea Wolves for Anchorage. Yeah, sorry, senior moment again. Hey, take on Stonehill College. Nothing really all that important in terms of narrative implications in this game. Uh, I really profusely apologize to the Alaska college hockey community for that temporary mix-up I had. I don't know. I think the Nanooks just had that staying power in my brain due to their video intros over the years. Highway to the Danger Zone. Yeah, RIT Tigers versus Niagara University matchup going on tonight. Uh, 5-6-0. Yeah, I mean RIT is having a respectable start to their season anyway. Yes, the Purple Eagles. Yeah, definitely a team that's been relevant to us at certain junctures. Uh, yeah, let's see. Yeah, that's sweet. My so many other teams are fun. Yeah, let's take a look at this. 11th. Yeah, everyone can beat anyone. Apologize for that. Um, yeah, I'll see if I can edit that out later on in post. Don't do a lot of post production oversight. I might make an exception for that just because, yeah, this is a bit of a disruption that I was not particularly happy to have happen. Yeah, let's see, 11. When is this article dated to? Yeah, this is from October 28th. So just think other shit has happened of this nature since then. We're allowing yeah, yeah. So the author of this article, Torrin Smith, attributes this, this sneak up effect with underdogs winning these games to the CHL Forbidden Door is effectively opening is when allowing like a wider breadth of talent on a larger number of rosters due to the fact that there weren't enough spots for on all the blue bloods for really good recruits, which means those depth minutes being one is a big contributor, and also top teams trying to figure out their identity, which he perceives as like a contributing factor to Penn State, especially Michigan State. I think Porter Martone has it figured out at this point. I think that is 100% something that's happened since McKenna has been good. Yeah, it isn't. There is still some like dialogue about his freshman season. I think it's worth having, but like I think will resolve itself as time goes on. All right. Yeah, so I guess we can just put a wrap on this. We'll quickly look at something here. And I don't want all this. Hold on. Maybe I should just. Yeah, there's a specific reason I'm not looking at elite prospects for this. Plus, it's consistent. I did establish my process 2 weeks ago, wherein I went to University of Minnesota Duluth's page for this for like an equivalent. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, we're pulling up Austin Elliott. Because right now he is based off strictly off of conference play. He statistically is the best goaltender in Hockey East to this point, despite the fact that his team's performance has been a bit up and down. Although they're managing a little bit better in conference play. Although I am increasingly getting annoyed by the fact that they've yet to sweep a conference series. I really think that of course, he did not play in that Merrimack return fixture at the Lawler Center in North Andover. I really think that they should have won both of those games, but it is just there's that volatility in hockey sometimes where someone might win one night and then lose to that same team the next. It's a competitive conference, even though I don't think it's the best right now. Uh, Despite it having been that for a number of years, not consecutively per se, but yeah, I mean, it's really. I'm gonna take a look at the graphic that Hockey East posted on their Instagram really quickly to supplement what's there. Hmm. First result, efficient work there by good old freaking DuckDuckGo. Yeah, take a look at this, huh? 108 save percentage, one shutout, 107 saves, and a 955 save percentage in 5 conference games, putting him number one at the goaltender in the goaltender leaderboard. On, yeah, on it, sure. Like just in terms of all those efficiency stats for goalies, he's the best, and definitely like exactly the sort of guy you thought he was going to be in his college career based off of his Memorial Cup winning run. Of course, also a very dominant showing throughout the OHL postseason. Like it's really interesting to think like Alexei Medvedev was very good as a tandem partner for him, but Dale Hunter opted exclusively to run Elliott um, throughout that whole playoffs, throughout that entire Memorial Cup uh, conquest. Of course, which had a bump in the road wherein they did lose one round robin game, but of course they came out in the wash since they defeated Medicine Hat, enacted emphatic revenge by winning the game that mattered the most in pretty convincing fashion. A team that included Gavin McKenna amongst its ranks, of course. In what was his final CHL game as well, with him now being, as noted, Penn State's most important player as of right now. Um, no disrespect intended to Charlie Serrato or the likes of Jackson Smith or whatever. Getting sidetracked. You know, his team might not, and it makes sense that despite the fact that Samuel Richard and Nikola Goich can absolutely provide things to that team as well. Norm Bazin figured out pretty quickly that this was the best of his goalie options. Like, and it's not particularly close either. So it's like it makes sense that he's in an equivalent situation there after Bazin did a feeling out process that Elliott is getting the bulk of the starts now. Like he is, despite his team still figuring its identity out, still needing a development. He was prepared for college hockey as a goaltender right away. And I really think this kid is going to be a pro when all is said and done. He is going to be another guy who gets a contract. And I would not be surprised if he ends up as an NHL starting goaltender. I think I've seen enough at this point to make a determination on that, despite the volatility at development at his position. So yeah, that covers it for this episode. Um, I hope that there is some insightful uh, material provided here, some good, useful content to catch people up with. Um, I think the regular schedule, I can't words. I think I should have drank some fluids before this episode started, but yeah, I kind of did this on a whim. So yeah, I didn't really have that option, but um, our regular schedule should be commencing from here on out. A wider breadth of content kind of truncated things here. Um, just in the interest of time, but and having so much to make up for that if I had gone down the rabbit hole of OHL and USHL, which I did watch and monitor in the time off, it would have just been too long of an episode considering the amount of time that we had to cover in terms of weeks of action. 2 weeks, not just one this time around. Just gotta had to pound through it. But next week will be different. Wider breadth of stuff. Won't have too much time taken up by a tournament anymore. We probably won't until the World Juniors come around at the very end of the year. Going into next year as a standard. Should be interesting to see how that shakes out. I will provide updates on like camp rosters and stuff and like preliminary games when they start happening. But yeah, that covers it for this week. Take care, everybody. Have a great evening. Uh, or whatever time of day you end up checking this out, as of course this is not a live stream pod like the main one was for a considerable amount of time before we restructured things. Whenever we will inform you as soon as possible when we know for certain when we are going to start doing that again. And I imagine the D3 hockey podcast will be recommencing soon as well, featuring Damien and Christian and occasional contributions from Matt Gover. Uh, yeah, but that should do it. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping by after a bit of a hiatus. I'll see you next week.